Happy Daily Dose, church family. My name is Gary Vanderford, one of the pastors here on the Vista campus. And I want to share with you one of my favorite stories from the book of Luke, chapter 19. It's about a wee little man by the name of Zacchaeus, who was a chief tax collector and also very rich. Well, we see that let me ask you this. Have you ever climbed a tree? Most everybody has. Well, this is the story of Zacchaeus climbing a tree. For two reasons: get out of harm's way, perhaps, or perhaps he was looking at a different perspective from his point of view, the world around him. Let me read the story here. Jesus entered Jericho and was passing through. A man was there by the name of Zacchaeus. He was a chief tax collector and was wealthy. He wanted to see who Jesus was, but being a short man, he could not, because of the crowd. So he ran ahead and climbed a sycamore fig tree to see him, since Jesus was coming that way. When Jesus reached the spot, he looked up and said to him, "Zacchaeus, come down immediately. I must stay at your house today." So he came down at once and welcomed him gladly. All the people saw this and began to mutter, "He has gone to be the guest of a sinner." But Zacchaeus stood up and said to the Lord, "Look, Lord, here and now I give half of my possessions to the poor. And if I've cheated anybody out of anything, I will pay back 4 times the amount." Well, Jesus said to him, "Today salvation has come to this house, because this man, too, is a son of Abraham." 3 important characters we see in this story. We see Jesus, we see the crowd, and Zacchaeus. Well, we know who Jesus is because we follow him and follow his teachings. We know about the crowd because they're always pressing in to see who Jesus is. Zacchaeus, a chief tax collector. He's also very wealthy. He worked for the Roman Empire at the time and was collecting tax fees from the crowd. But he's also very wealthy because he was padding his pockets with their fees, the extra amount that he would charge them. Respected? I don't think so. Was he hated and feared? Most likely. He stands in the streets with the crowd to see this Jesus, but he stands at a distance because he can't see over the crowd and he can't get near. Because he is short in stature and not wanting to get too close to the crowd, he runs ahead and climbs a tree. I would imagine that it's one of his favorite trees. I imagine that he climbed this tree many times in his childhood to get away from bullies or people that meant to do him harm, or perhaps to get a bigger perspective on his world. Jesus stops in the middle of the street, looks up with the crowd pressing in, and calls out Zacchaeus. He calls him by name to come down, and he gladly receives him into his home. Now Zacchaeus heard the crowd, and he heard them saying and muttering against him. He's gone to be the home of a sinner, the chief tax collector, because there's no denying he did many people harm. But he repented and he made financial restitution. Jesus says, "Today salvation has come to this house." Some of us are in the crowd. Some of us are in the tree. Which one are you? I've been in both many, many times. I've been in the crowd wanting to press in to see who Jesus is, wanting him to see me. But I've also been in the tree trying to get away from harm or get a different perspective. Jesus will stop and call you by name. I hope we respond rightly. The last verse says, "For the Son of Man came to seek and save the lost." Jesus calls us by name. Have a great day, church family. And when he calls, I hope we come down off our tree, and I'll be right there next to you too.